What's happening, people? I'm live again. Oops, let me, oh, wait a minute. Let me make sure that this thing is not bending my tablet here. Yeah. I'm gonna come back later on today, and I'm going to do a video on. I got to do a part 3. It's based upon. It's weird that we have not been taught our nationality. Y'all know I'm into the study of that, and I was going to speak on. I had to take my time last night because I didn't want to wear my, my voice out or nothing like that, And maybe I needed to drink some water, or whatever, That's probably what it was. I probably try to keep me some fluids in me, but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do a part 3. I just wanted to just come and just talk in my own way. This is no real topic or no specific topic, but this is just something just to keep you up to date, to let y'all know what I'm doing. So I don't want to end it without. See, we're so behind in our learning and stuff because we have been taught things outside of our nationality. We have been stripped of our God. We have been stripped of our God. We have been stripped of our real identity. And you all know, for me, I've been on YouTube a decade, 5 years. That's a minute. And all the while I'm putting YouTube videos out, I'm always trying to, my goal and my purpose is to enlightening my people so that we can move forward living. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they'll say things like, we can't do without the white man. We can't do without the white man. Me, I know all things are possible. All things are possible. Everything is possible. Any and everything is possible. We can. I put some other videos out yesterday, and I took my time. I did an hour in the video, and y'all go check them videos out. They're dealing with. I went through a whole bunch of biblical history using just the Bible, proving that we are the real Jew. You can go check them out, and you'll see for yourself. It was some good information. I went back and viewed the one that I did last night. I said, this is pretty good. You know what I mean? This is pretty good to say that I felt like I was stumbling a little bit, but I feel like I did a pretty good, fair job with them, So my job is just to try to enlighten people. Just look out for that video later on today or later on, tonight sometime. I will be going live, and I'm trying to update you with some information, new information, as I'm trying to update myself with some information, because we need to find out as much information as we could, you know what I'm saying? Especially us, as a people of color, we need to find out, we don't want to leave, we want to be enlightening, nobody, common sense, you don't want to be in the dark. You want to know as much as you could. You don't want to just be that in the dark. If you can be enlightening on about a dough, you know what I mean? You're going to want to know about that dough. So before I close this video, I want to open up and leave you with a little history. That's what I call it. Some history, let's see here. What was that topic I was talking about earlier? It was a title. I think I had highlighted it. It's called Spent Wait a minute. I was reading something. Let me let me they got one here called Terror and Retribution in France. This was talking about how they got one called Calvin Began His Work. Quickly did Calvin enter into his work, and his words were as the dew falling to refresh the earth. He had left Paris and was now in a provincial town under the protection of the Princess Margaret, who loved the gospel, extended her protection to his disciples. Calvin was still a youth of gentle and I don't know what that is, unprotection, bringing his work began with the people at their homes, surrounded by the members of the household. He read the Bible and opened the truths of salvation. Those who heard the message carried the good news to others. And soon the teacher passed beyond the city to outlying towns, to both the castle and the Camden. He found interest, and he went forward, laying the foundation of churches that were to yield fearless witnesses for the truth. Okay, let me just see if I can find something else. That was a good one, but I just want to just lay a groundwork, give you an idea of what I'm going to be talking about in the next video. Okay, let's see here. Heroes for the Truth in the Netherlands and Sandrines. In the Netherlands, the papal tyrant very early called for resolute protest. 700 years before Luther's time, the Roman Pontifex was thus fearless in preached by two bishops who have been sent on the embassy to Rome and learned the true character of the Holy See. God has made his queen and spouse, the church, a noble and everlasting provision for her family, with a dowry that is neither faded nor corruptible, and given her an eternal crown and scepter, all which benefits you, like a thief intercept. You set up yourself in the temple of God instead of a pastor. You are becoming a wolf to the sheep. You would make us believe you are a supreme bishop, but you'd rather behave like a tyrant, where you ought to be a servant of the servants, as you call yourself. You endeavor to become lords of lords. Um, Hopefully, y'all understood some of that. But anyway, here's what I want to say. Now, some of these words are very solid. But what I want to say is that how can I start this off? I just want to just come and talk to you right now. That's the video. I just want it's all just talk, plain talk. I used to be a Seventh Adventist. I did. I attended the church for several years. I did. I attended for several years. It's not so much of the name Seventh Adventist, and I can kind of give you. I just want to give you a little brief history of it. The individuals in the congregation, they get they it was some things that they pointed out to me in the Bible. They did. It was in the Bible as far as the diet and the Sabbath, things of that nature. But the other parts that I never been hearing about was our nationality. That's the only thing that I really wasn't getting. I don't know if it was not important because during that time I didn't know what nationality was. Because when I would hear people say, "What's your nationality?" such as the Hebrew Israelites, it sparked something. It sparked me to ask more questions and to further seek under a better understanding, like what's going on here. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm not discrediting the love until you have a lot of, you know what I mean? I'm not discrediting the sincerity in any of that. You know, I honor and respect that. I don't diss where, because if it had not been for me, them witnessing to me when it came to the diet, I wouldn't even be I probably would still would be eating in and everything now. I probably would still be eating pork. Yeah. But because I was witnessed to at a young age, I was 17 years old, and I immediately wanted to just follow that because it made sense to me. Like, you know, we shouldn't be eating anything. It just made sense to me that why would you want to eat something that would take you out? And I was like, at 17 years old, if it's going to do some harm to me, then why would I want to eat it? That's how I was thinking. That's how I was thinking. That's for me personal, you know. Now I don't know how it would convict somebody else who isn't, you know what I mean, who basically eat what they want to eat. Some people will, you can tell them, and maybe it's not for them, you know what I mean? But I knew it was for me because it made sense to me. When I first heard about, because the person was witnessing to me, they were like, "Well, do you understand and know why you go on Sunday?" I said, "Nope." They said, "Well, I said, I don't remember nothing like this coming up in the church. Nobody never brought it to my attention that it was bad to eat. Pork was bad or whatever." And then, but I questioned it, you know. It wasn't like, "Oh, I said, I love pork and I'm gonna eat what I want." No, I didn't have that mindset at 17. You know, I didn't have the mindset. I wanted to know. I'm just that guy. And that's why I spend so much time trying to um, you know what I'm saying, trying to do research and learn as much as I could. Now you have a lot of people that will say, "Boy, well, you'll never know the whole truth. You will never know what's true. You'll think you know and you don't know." Well, if you are seeking, you will find, you know, that's what the Bible says. Now, a lot of people don't believe in the Bible. Now, my question would go back, okay, we have a reason to not to believe in the Bible. I mean, not to accept the Bible. There are a lot of reasons not to, but you have to ask yourself, why would you not want to just take a dive and look and see what's right for yourself? You know what I mean? If that makes sense to you. Now, if you can tell some people, do your own research, and if you say that, that's not going to make sense to even to the average person. So what can you tell them? Like, is the Bible true or is it not true? It's either one or the other. It's not going to be two. It's not going to be both. It's truth and untruth. You can't have it both ways. It's either it's not the real book or it is. You know what I'm saying? But for me, based upon when I hear things like that, it just makes sense to me. Like if somebody say, "Man, you shouldn't be eating pork. You shouldn't be eating pork. You shouldn't be eating none of that stuff." And I'm gonna ask them why. I'm not gonna sit there and be like try to argue or rationalize with them. I'm gonna be like because I always have been that way. You know, like let me give you an example. When I first heard the Hebrew Israelites, and I know a lot of people are probably gonna probably just go ham in the comment section. You know what I mean? But what I want to say is, before I got involved with the Hebrew Israelites, I said I got out of churches because I said I'm tired of being lied. I don't want to be lied to. You know what I mean? So I would hear the Hebrew Israelites. They would be always speaking on different. You know, I just started watching them more this year because 2017, 18, 19, 20, going back to 2013 and longer than that, I didn't even watch nothing about no Hebrew Israelites. So maybe a couple of months of this year, but you know what I mean. Something told me. I clicked on to one of the Hebrew Israelites videos, and I said, I don't want to watch this. I said, let me turn this off. I can just remember. I just didn't take interest in it. I said, that's a religion. Something told me, don't turn it off. Just take the time and just watch the whole video out. Just do that. I said, okay. So when I watched the video, a lot of the things that I said, whoa, it makes sense when they said that the Bible was the white man's book. And I'm thinking about all the stuff, how we be oppressed and shot down in the streets. I mean, our young men being shot down in the streets. And when they talked about the black people is the people of this book, it made sense to me is because I see how the so-called white man is actually oppressing mainly the black man. I see this. So I would be a dumb fool is to sit up there and say, no, I don't believe in that. That would be I don't accept that. Why not? Because it's evidence that our young men, a lot of them is getting shot down in the streets. Trayvon Martin, Dylan Roof went into a black church in 2015 and shot and killed 9 black people in cold blood. And when they based it up on the Bible, I said, well, you know what? It's a possibility that this Bible could be true. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, well, why would I? Because it would be ignorant for me to argue that. When I'm knowing that our men of color is getting shot down in the streets. So what I'm telling you is, to the best of my ability, if it makes sense to you, it made sense to me. Why would it not make sense to me? Because all these things are prophesied in the Bible. Why would it not make sense to me? That's what I want to know. Somebody help me out in the comment section. We are our young men, and we as a black man, and I'm a living witness to that. When I walk the streets as a black man, as a so-called black man, to white society, I'm considered a threat. Why? Because of my skin color. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And so that's how it can tell me. That's how you, like a lot of people say, well, how do you know that you're a real Israelite? How do you know? How can you tell the difference between an African and a Nigerian, and how these people, Arabs and Spain people and the Ethiopians and the Egyptian people are not our people and they are our enemy? How do you know this? Because you can compare it to the Bible and you can see, you can just compare it to the Bible. And you just weigh it out. Well, how do you know this? You'll know by the hatred that you'll know by the spirit, man. Why is it that a lot of people, our people don't get that? When you tell them, like, for example, let me give you another example. And I'm all over the place because I'm trying my best as to explain this. I'm trying my best as to help people understand this here. And I'm trying to give it to them. That's why I spend so much of my time trying to talk. I don't understand how they don't get it. You see the so-called white man shooting black men down in the streets. But yet and still, when I pointed out into Bible prophecy, into Deuteronomy 28, where it talks about all the curses that we're going through, and you have one man of color, woman of color, you can show this to them in the scripts and in the scrolls. You know what they're gonna do after you done showed it to them and they read it for themselves. You know what they're gonna sit up there and do? They're gonna be like, I don't believe that. And I'm sitting up there and I'm like going like, wait a minute. How can you say you rejecting something when you don't even pick up your word? You don't do no reading, you don't do no kind of research every day. You spend most of your time on the phone and spend most of your time doing other stuff. You ain't picked up a book in about 60 years. You ain't picked up a Bible in 60 years. So how you gonna read one context and say that's not what that's saying? It doesn't make any sense. You ain't read the context before and after. So how you gonna sit up there and boldly, outrightly sit up there and lie to yourself and say, oh, that's not true? That's what I don't understand out of people. If you really is a child of God, and I'm talking to my people of color, and you sit up and cry and pretend that you is from God, and you serving God, and you trying to convert me to to be a child of God, but you're not following. Do you believe? I mean, not believe. Do you know? Do you realize that the Bible is? I mean, do you realize it? I mean, that is real. Do you realize that we are the people of the book? I don't understand people, man. They just, I don't get it. I mean, what I'm saying is, why is it that the word research is so hard to grasp? Is it easy to just say, look, if you don't accept what I'm saying, you don't have to accept what I'm saying, but just go and look the information up. Everything, it's like everything you say, they believe is false. If you say, just check it out for yourself, you know what they're gonna tell you? They still gonna refuse to accept what you say. And it's not like you telling them is to accept what you're saying. That's not the big issue here. I see if they would say, well, look, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. I don't know. I can accept that better than I can accept you sitting up there like, well, that's not, I don't believe that that's what it's saying. No, that's stupid. Why would you not say, okay, I really don't know, son, and I don't know, but you gonna have to give me some extra information on that, because from what you're saying, I don't know. I can't accept that because I don't have a full understanding of it. So if you want me to understand it, you're gonna have to show me more proof and context, because I don't know for sure. You're telling me this here, but I just need to do some. I'm gonna have to do some extra research on what you're saying, because I really don't know, and I don't want to run my mouth on something that I don't know. If a person would come across like that, then I would understand. I would respect them. I would kudos. I would cheer you, because at least you're being honest. You're not sitting there and you're not saying, well, because you just start arguing a person. and debating a person and you don't know what you're talking about. Number one, that's stupid. You can't even tell people, look this information up for yourself. Just look it up. Would you do me one favor? Just look it up. Do your research on it. But some people not gonna even accept that. They're gonna say, oh, you teaching false. It's false what you're saying. How do you know it's false what I'm saying? They'll throw you off by saying, well, you got to use, some things just common sense. It's not, okay, let me ask y'all this here. When a person say, you don't have to read nothing, some things is just natural common sense. Let me ask you this here. Wouldn't it be, if I say, look, go and do your, if you don't have to accept what I'm saying, but could you do me one favor? Go and do your research for yourself. What is that? Is that common sense? Would you give me credit for saying, look, I tell you what, you're going to have to look it up for yourself. Go do your own research. I'm not telling you is to accept what you hear. I'm telling you to just do your own research for yourself. Would that not be common sense? You don't believe me? Go see for yourself. What is that? Go see for yourself. You know what that means? It literally means, breaking it down, it means common sense. You're saying common sense, go look it up. That's common sense right there. If somebody tell me that in the 13th, I'm just making up something, in the 13th century, a man started cussing the priest out. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say you're right or wrong. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. Where to look it up at? What page number? If I go to the library and look up in a Wikipedia, encyclopedia, where can I find these documents and these statements to substantiate what you just said? Is it an accurate? How do you know that it's really an accurate document that you're speaking to me about? How do you know this here? Can you actually give me the date and the time in which that was said to prove what you're saying is accurate? Accurate, the truth. Can you prove that this is accurate? Now that would make sense right there. Then you coming out and debating with me over something that you don't really know yourself, because you cannot come. Remember, you can't study the Bible. You can't study history off of feelings and emotions. You got to remove your emotions and your feelings and your desires out of it. You got to move your natural self completely out of the equation and have an open mind. Is to say, well, I don't have to accept what this person is saying, but what I can do is that I can go and just at least let me see for myself. I had a poor education coming up. I had a problem with pronouncing words, a lot of words, and it frustrated me. And I said, you know what? Even though everybody else is reading and everybody else is writing stuff down and all that kind of stuff, everybody else knows how to read and write. And I'm having problems with pronunciation and pronouncing words, certain words, and breaking them down. And I was frustrated with myself. So what I did, I said, well, I don't want to just do it. I want to be able to do it and read and write and understand for myself. So I had to work on the reading. You see what I'm saying? Because I said, I'm tired of people. I'm tired of just listening to people. I want to be able to go and read it and understand it in the proper context for myself. So that's what I did. That was common sense. I didn't sit back and say, well, no, that's not true, because that wasn't right. It's not a wise decision to make. You see what I'm saying? It's not wise to say that. That's not right. It's completely contrary. Why would I sit around here and tell other people that you should be a follower of the Most High, but I'm offended over what you're telling me? What sense does that make? You know, like me, if somebody come up and say, I seen a guy on YouTube, he talks about different topics. He tried to educate his people on different things. And somebody say, oh, I don't believe that. That would be stupid, right? When they could easily Google me and they can find me on YouTube, right? It would be just like, let me, I like breaking things down. If y'all don't mind, I want to show y'all. Okay, let me open this up. Okay. Clarence Ray YouTube. Yep, I pop right up, but what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna Clarence Ray Google. Yep, this is it. You can see me right there at the top. Oops. See where it says Clarence Ray Google? Now I'm gonna open that up. Look at that. Clarence Ray. I Googled myself. I hit the mic. See that? Now, I've done that for a reason. So, to show y'all that if somebody tell you, there's a guy on YouTube by the name of Clarence Ray, and he speaks out all the time, and he cares about his people. I don't believe that. Would that be a stupid answer to give when you can easily hit that microphone? See here? Hold on. See that microphone right there? Clarence Ray YouTube. See how my videos popped up? Now, if you want to know whether somebody's telling the truth or not, you see what I just did? I think I'm going to make this example tonight in my live. I popped right up. I'm not going to be able to probably finish the video because the phone is ringing or whatever, you know. So I'm going to see y'all later if I have to turn it off because I don't want the talking to get into my video. If that's again, we'll see. Because sometimes it just be phone calls. People be trying to sell their product, sell it, be like sell insurance people or whatever. Yeah, I'm so used to getting the important calls or whatever. So you see the example that I just used and what I just did. Huh? Anything you want to know about the things that I talk about my personal life or whatever, you can just hit your microphone and I'll pop right up. Whatever you want to know about a person, if they want to know the history of the character, if you want to learn the character of a person, if that person is out there on YouTube or whatever, you can Google them up. It's easy to Google people up, especially if they make themselves available on social media. If they're on social media, like myself, I'm on social media on a day-to-day basis all the time. And whatever it is that you want to know about that person, it's easy to look it up. That's all. It's easy to Google it up. Let me show you another example. All right. Okay, hold on. I just want to make sure I got it. Hold on. Wait a minute. There the mic is. You probably can't hardly see it. If somebody tell you, you know, Clarence Ray is on Hard. Clarence Ray is on YouTube. No, he ain't. I don't believe that. All you gotta do is do this and hit that mic. Clarence Ray YouTube. You see how my videos pop, my website popped up? See that? See at the top? Wait a minute, hold on. Yes, hold on. I just want to see that? That my videos, that's my other channel though. But see, that's the example that I show people. Like people will sit up and argue with you about different things. Like you can go back and look up people if you want to learn what Methodist Church come from. All these things, which that I'm a big fan of that. All you have to do, a smart person would what? Okay, let me see what you're talking about. They Google it up and they'll pop right up. You see what I'm saying? This is what I be telling people when it comes to biblical history. Anything that people say, I'm not, look, with me, you're not dealing with a fake pastor. I'm not no religious pastor. I'm not none of those people. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you a bunch of lies just to keep you coming here watching. But isn't it amazing? Think about that. Isn't it amazing when people tell you, I can get on this channel right now, just for the record, and sit up here and say, oh, I'm a real prophet of the Most High, and with a Bible under my arm and put a suit on and have a Bible under my arm. Guess what? And I can tell them I'm working miracles and God gonna work miracles and people gonna be healed and you're gonna get that $30 million in less than 30 days. Do you know by me saying, even if I'm lying to people, do you know on YouTube, you can create a YouTube channel and you can get a large following just for saying that lie. But if you get on here and say, look, you shouldn't be defiling your temple like that. You're gonna get sick, you're gonna die, and so on and so forth. Do you know 0 people will watch that video? 0 people will watch that video. You know why? It's because the media, people are so used to being lied to. Most people want to hear a lie. The world is more overtaken by lies. This is normal. This is the abnormal. This is normal now. Just like I was talking about this a couple of hours ago today before I went live. If 2 men and 2 women can get married, children can see 2 men walk in a house together, holding hands, talking about they're gonna get married. Do you know it's so the abnormal and normal? That is not gonna even affect children. That's not gonna affect them when they look at it because they are so programmed and used to it because they're used to the so-called white man, them programmed that into society. And people, the media eats it up. They tell you as long as you two love each other, and it's all about how much you love the person and they love you as a human being. That's what's important. At least they don't hate each other. And most of the world will rock with that. The whole society will rock with that. But I'm here to tell you that's not normal. But our children now, they can see 2 women hugging and kissing. It's normal to them. They look at it and it's normal. But it's not natural according to the Bible. A natural thing is for a man and a woman to get married. Not no 2 men to get married, not no 2 women to get married. But we know how this society is. It's still the norm. Transgender, all that stuff. It's normal. That's the way that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? But it's not normal, bro. You see what I'm saying? Your government is wicked for saying that's real. And if you speak out against it, they think you're wrong for speaking out about it. Let me see if I can read a little something that makes sense right here. The teachings of Luther found a congenial soul in the Netherlands, and earnest and faithful men arose to preach the gospel. From one of the previous of Holland came Menno Simons, educated a Roman Catholic ordained to the priesthood. He was wholly ignorant of the Bible, and he would not read it for fear of being beguiled into heresy. When a doubt concerning the doctrine of transubstantiation, I don't even know what that is, people, but this led him to study the Bible in regarding to infant baptism. He found no evidence for in it the scriptures, but saw that repentance and faith are everywhere required as the condition of receiving baptism. See, a lot of people, when you start pulling this out, they ain't want to hear that. It's like when you ain't speaking and talking their language, or when you try to open up to them certain things, they not gonna follow it. You know, as long as you sitting up lying to them and telling them lies, you see what I'm saying? They'll follow. As soon as you pull out stuff and go to reading, they out the door. It just goes to show you how sick-minded, how confused and sick our people is in a docile state of mind. They bugged out. You know what I'm saying? They are. Yeah. Well, Luther was opening a closed Bible to the people of Germany. Tyndale was impelled by the Spirit of God to do the same for England. Wycliffe's Bible had been translated from Latin text. Now, Latin means a dead language, which contained many errors. It had never been printed and caused a misconception. Let me read. Luther's Bible had been translated from the Latin text, which contained many errors. It had never been printed, and the cost of manuscript copies was so great that few but wealthy men or nobles could procure it. And furthermore, being strictly prescribed by the church, it had a comparatively narrow circulation in 1516, a year before the appearance of Luther's theses. Emerson had published his Greek and Latin version of the New Testament. Now, for the first time, the Word of God was printed in the original tongue. In this work, many errors of former versions were corrected, and the scene was more clearly rendered. It led many amongst the educated classes to a better knowledge of the truth, and given a new inputs to the work of reform. But the common people were still to a great extent debarred from God's word. Tyndale was to complete the work of Wycliffe and given the Bible to his countrymen. A diligent study and earnest seeker for truth had received the gospel from the Greek Testament of Emerson. He fiercely preached his conviction, urging that all doctrine be tested by the scriptures. To the papal's claim that the church had given the Bible and the church alone could explain it, Tyndale responded, "Do you know who taught the eagles to find their prey? Well, that same God teaches his hungry children to find their Father in his word. Far from having given us the scriptures, it is who you have hidden them from us. It is you who bore those who teach them. And if you could, you would burn the scriptures themselves." The Boulme History of Reformation, excuse me, the Reformation of the 16th century, book 18, chapter 4. Tyndale's preaching excited great interest. Many accepted the truth. See, all of these things, remember, we looked at this here about Latin. Latin is a dead language. That's what it means. Latin is a Roman language. So the Bible was translated into Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. The reason why it was translated in the Hebrew, Greek, and Latin is because a lot of our people, remember I told y'all we were stripped of our identity, and we started accepting the forms and the customs of these other people. As century went on, we started gradually adopting these outside customs of our real culture. Let me say that again. We started gravitating to these fake identities outside of our real culture. This is the reason why you have so many different denominations now that are in place now, and we're following so many different things. And you got this one following this one, and that one following this one believing this, and you got all these beliefs. The belief, and people say, "Oh, I don't believe that. I believe in this. I believe in my God." All of that is white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? Because belief means something that you can't prove. You can't prove it. You see what I'm saying? Tyndale's preaching excited great interest. Many accepted the truth, but the priests were on the altar, and no sooner had he left the field than they, by their threats and misrepresentations, the indevoted to destroy his work. Too often they succeeded. What is to be done? He exclaimed, while I was sowing in one place, the enemy revenge. The field I have just left, I cannot be everywhere. Oh, wait a minute. If Christians possess the Holy Scriptures in their own tongue, remember now, the word Latin is a Roman language. Latin is a Roman language. And the reason why the people, Paul had to go to Titus, Timothy, he had to go to Corinth, he had to go to Rome, he went to Greece, he went to all those different parts of the country, because there was Israelites scattered throughout all of those regions. Not the non-Israelites. No, not the non-Israelites. Old Testament, Genesis, all the way to the closing of the book. No, he was only dealing with the Israelites because they were scattered. Jeremiah 23:1, go find it. It tells you that the fake pastors is cause of Israel being scattered in all the other countries. Acts chapter 2, a lot of people would use that to say, oh, well, God called everybody. He was calling them people from other Creeks, Arabians. We do hear them speaking our own language, but they don't break it down. What he was saying was he was talking about the Israelites because the Israelites were scattered. So Paul had to speak in Greek, Hebrew, Latin. He had to go speak in all those different languages so that those people who are Israelites who was identity was stolen. And the people of them other countries, like Romans, they came in and manipulated the real of the Israelites' identity. And so they manipulated them, and they started following the customs and the traditions of the so-called people who call themselves Jews, because so-called Jews came and converted to Judaism in the 13th century, and they tried to become Jew, but they still was an unborn natural Jew. An unborn natural Jew, which is a Gentile, cannot convert to true Judaism. They can't do it, no matter what they do. It would be just like your dad. If your dad had 5 biological children, nobody else that he never had, that child didn't come out the womb of that real mother. They can adopt him, but that would not make that adopted child become a real child. It wouldn't happen. Abraham, remember Abraham in Genesis 15, verse 1? He wanted to adopt some children, but the Most High said, the children will come out of your own bowel. That will be your seed. You see what I'm saying? Go read Genesis 15 for yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. You can. So I don't know. I hope nobody don't hear that in there. Oh, okay. Well, I can go on. But think about what I'm saying. Your DNA doesn't lie, right? I cannot, if a child that's not my biological child, I'm just making a point. That child cannot become, no matter what I say, they can't convert to becoming my real DNA. They can't. Why? Because it is not my biological, natural child that came from my blood. This is the same thing applies to the real Jew. Whether you are Jewish is anti-fake. The real Jew is real, the real Jews. So you cannot convert to becoming from a natural Jew to becoming a spiritual Jew. You can't do it. It's all over in the Bible. And you can use your biblical history, the black history of the so-called black African-American history to prove that. Just like a white man cannot convert and become a natural black person. He can't do it because he is what he is. A black person like myself, like a man of color, a so-called black man, I can't sit up here and make myself a white person, which I don't want to be white. I can't do it. I can't convert and become a European, no matter how smooth white people talk. They can't convert and become me, and I can't convert and become them. My blood is still of the race of the color descent. I'm still from the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American culture. So I cannot become a European. I can't do it because my DNA don't lie. My DNA says that my father is Creole. You see what I'm saying? So I cannot make my DNA become white. You can't do it. You can't take a apple tree and go plant an apple tree in China. Guess what you still gonna get? You're gonna get apples. You're gonna get apples. You're not gonna take an apple tree and go and plant in China and see what you get. You're not gonna get no other type of fruit for what you planted. You're still gonna get apples. No matter where you take that apple tree at, you're still gonna get apples. No matter where you take that orange tree at, you're still gonna get oranges off of a tree. That's it. No matter what you do, you cannot convert and make yourself something that you're not. If you go out there in your yard and you plant apples, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get apples. If you plant bananas and you have banana seeds, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get exactly what you planted, bananas. That's the same way it is when it comes to a person being a Jew versus not a real Jew. A person cannot be a Gentile and convert. And I'm sitting up here speaking, and all of a sudden he's a Jew. You have to be a real Jew by blood. That's my whole point. All right. Let me just read this here right quick. While I am sowing in one place, the enemy revenge the field I have just left. I cannot be everywhere. Oh, if Christians possess the Holy Scriptures in their own tongue, they could themselves withstand these sophistics. Without the Bible, it is impossible to establish the Italy in the truth. Though Boone may book book 18, chapter 4. That means you can go to the library, you can look that up. That's funny. I mean, this is really weird. IBID, Dobume book 18, chapter 4. Okay. A new purpose now took possession of his mind. It was in the language of Israel, and Israel said he that the psalmists were singing in the temple of Jehovah. Shall not the gospel speak the language of England amongst us? Ought the church to have less light at noonday than at the dawn? Christians must read the New Testament in their mother tongue. The doctors and teachers of the church disagree amongst themselves. Only by the Bible could men arrive at the truth. One holding this doctrine, another that. Now each of these authors contradicts the other. How then can we distinguish him who says right from him who says wrong? How? Verified by God's word. Dobume book 18, chapter 4. Okay, I'm not going. Let me look over here where it talked about how, I think it was Luke. One of them had distributed copies of the Bible. I think I'm in the right one. How did we get to where we are from where we were? They got something here about Methodists ridiculed and persecuted. Okay, that they had people inside the Methodist church. Okay, the phone is still ringing. My two witnesses. Okay, throughout France, the butchery continued for 2 months. 70,000 of the very flower of the nation perished. Okay, this is talking about France. In France, they had a lot of Jews in France too. You see what I'm saying? Just like France tried to come in and bring in their doctrines and tried to force it upon the people of color, because Creole people are the first people. Okay, the Creole people are the first people of color. They are. So that's why you got French Creole, Haitian Creole, and all that kind of stuff. But this is the reason why you got that French Creole and all that kind of stuff. French Creole and all that. See, you cannot take the nation of France and convert. France cannot convert to Judaism. Neither can Libya, the people of Libya, Ethiopia. Those people cannot convert to Judaism. It's either you are what you is or you're not. It's either your DNA is what it is, it's just what it is. Because that DNA don't lie. And everybody knows that when you go and get your DNA test, why do you think the white supremacists, the Mara show, can say you are not the father? Because they go by your DNA, right? That means your DNA, if your DNA don't match that this child is yours, then guess what? No matter how you adopt and what you say, how smart you are, how eloquent and educated you are, it's not going to make that child become your child. No, it's not. They can't say, oh, I'm your child. No, that has to be your biological child. So you cannot convert to become from not being the man's son to convert to being the man's son. No matter what you do, you can't do it. Have you ever heard people say water and oil do not mix? Guess what? That is a true saying. Oil and water don't mix. It doesn't. Oil and water don't mix. I got to go out here and do some work to the yard. I mean, not work to the yard, but I got to cut down. There's a tree. It don't grow too fast, but I'm gonna have to go out here and take and cut it down. If I had me some long clips, I can take and just cut it down quicker. But by me having some scissors, I'm gonna have to like take my time and cut on. So I'm gonna have to go in the back and get a ladder. It's a big old thick tree. I say in the front, look like a Christmas tree. But I don't think I want to hold this out too long, people. But if I don't find it right now, I'm gonna come back later on tonight and I'm gonna look for it. How distributed of the copies. I want to see who I read it before, but it was something that when they was the Bible was being translated into English, and I think it was Wycliffe, the ones that who translated the Bible into the native language so that the Jews can understand it, so that the people can understand. You see what I'm saying? Because remember, our identity as people of color, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, identity was stolen, it was taken. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we got all these different denominations and all of that. So I want to talk about who created the Methodists. I'm just going to talk about a mix of different things. Who created Methodists, who the starter of it, all those different things, and try to just, to the best of my ability, show people, just give people a general idea of where all of these things come from. And that's what I'm all about. You see what I'm saying? Because people need to know what they are actually involving themselves into. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like in St. John chapter 4, where you remember when the Most High was talking to the woman at the well, and the woman made a statement. She said, we know who we worship, or something like that. But you know not who you worship. And she didn't realize she was talking to the so-called Black Messiah. Let's see here. Let me see what this makes sense if I throw this in there. The Bible restored to France. God's faithful witnesses slain by the blasphemous power that ascended out of the bottomless pit were not alone to remain silent. After 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Revelation 11:11. It was in 1793 that the decrees was abolished, Christian religion, and set aside the Bible, passing the French Assembly. 3 years and a half later, a resolution reciting these decrees, thus grant tolerance to Scripture. They were adopted by the same body. The words stood against at the I don't know what that is. The guilt which had resulted from rejecting of the sacred articles. Men recognized the necessity of faith in God and His Word as the foundation of virtue and morality, such the Lord, whom thou hast reproached and blasphemed, against whom they had exalted thy voice and lifted up thy eyes on high, even against the Holy One of Israel. Isaiah 37, verse 23. Therefore, behold, I will cause them to know this once will I cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Jehovah. That's Jeremiah 16:21. Okay, that's not really what I wanted, but let me see, will this give the answer? So notice it always point back to Israel, though. Jeremiah 16:21. That's where I got that quote from. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Revelation 11:12. Since France made war upon God's two witnesses, they have been honored as never before. In 1804, in British and foreign Bible societies was organized. This was followed by a similar organization with numerous branches. Okay, notice it says France made war upon the word of God. So y'all know France, they the ones that tried to push their doctrines up on Haiti and France, and Creole. They tried to push their doctrines up on Creole. You see what I'm saying? And upon the content of European in 1816, the American Bible Society was founded. When the British, those are the white Caucasian people, the British Society was formed. The Bible had been printed and circulated in 50 tongues. It has been since translated into many hundreds of languages and decolate I'm not even say that last one. It has been since. Okay, let me go back. In 1816, the American Bible Society was founded. When the British Society was formed, the Bible had been printed and circulated in 50 tongues. It has been translated into many hundreds of languages and dialects. Okay, dialects, I got it. For the 50 years preceded, in 1792, little attention was given to the work of foreign mission. No new society was formed, and there was but few churches that made any efforts for the spreading of Christianity in heathen lands. See, what people need to understand is that all of the Israelites that were scattered abroad, the Most High was not dealing with those other nations like France, Spain, Italy, Ethiopia, Germany. He wasn't dealing with those other nations. Israel was scattered throughout all the other countries. That's what Acts chapter 2 is dealing with. People think that the Most High took and he accepted all those other nations. He didn't do that. He was talking about only Israel. That's what people missing. That's what they missing the concept. When Paul went to Rome, Greece, Spain, Italy, and all them other places, guess what? Who he was going for only? He was going only for the Israelites. He was not going for them other nations like that. And this is something that most of the people is teaching contrary to the Most High. He didn't go to all them other countries. He only went to redeem Israel, his people. He did. That's what the Most High went to do. That's what he did. Remember, we were scattered throughout all the region. And guess what? I can prove all of this. I can prove every bit of this here. All you got to do is look at Deuteronomy chapter 28. It tells you about the curses. We are the only nations on this over here, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans fit those curses because we are the ones that they're shooting down in the streets. We are the ones that fit those curses in the Bible. That's how we know who we are. That's how you'll know who is an Israelite and who is a non-Israelite. That's right. That's how you will know who's an Israelite and who's a non-Israelite. The white man, even if he tried to even convert to Judaism, it's not in his spirit to do so. He can't do it because he's not a real natural Jew. That's why he can kill you and he can go into your church like Dylan Roof did in 2015 and shot and killed 9 black people in cold blood and nothing happened to him. It's not in his nature to be a godly person. No matter how much they try to be godly, they still cannot be godly. They still can kill you because it's not in their nature to have compassion on you. I'm giving y'all some real history. This ain't nothing that I made up. I can beat any pastor, any so-called pastor preacher that come here and try to tell me something. They can't, I will be undefeatable because I know I did my research. Yeah, I was putting all this information on video. And I'm gonna post it to my timeline and stuff like that there and post it and send it out to people. Because that's the reason why, that's why I like this thing here. This book has a lot of history in it. It's called The Great Controversy. You see what I'm saying? And it's got a lot of history in here. So let me read this over to y'all. For the 50 years preceded in 1792, little attention was given to the work of foreign missions. No new scientist was formed, and there was but few churches that made any efforts for the spreading of Christianity in heathen lands. But toward the close of the 18th century, a great change took place. Men became dissatisfied with the results of rationalism and realizing the necessity of divine revelation and experimental religion. From this time, the work of foreign mission attended and unproceeded growth. See Appendix 1. You find that in the library, bro. The improvement in printing have given in inputs to the work of circulating the Bible. The increase in faculties for communication between different countries. See, that's what I just said, different countries, and the breaking down of ancient barriers of prejudice and national exclusiveness, and the loss of the secular power by the pontifex of Rome have opened the way for the entries of the Word of God. For some years, the Bible has been sold without restraint in the streets of Rome, and it has now been carried to every part of the inhabitable globe. Oh, I think they're gone. It has been carried to every part of the inhabitable globe. That means the infidel volunteer once boastfully said, I am weary of hearing people repeat that 12 men established the Christian religion. Yeah, I mean, that could be right. That's right in a sense, because the 12 apostles did not create this Christianity, because it's not about religion. It's about bloodline. I will prove that one man may suffer sufficient to overthrow it. The generations have passed since his death. Millions have joined in the war upon the Bible, but it is so far from being destroyed, where there was a hundreds in Voltaire's time, there are now 10,000 yes, 100,000 copies of the book of God and the words of an early reformer concerning the Christian church. The Bible is an unveil that has worn out many. Wait a minute. The Bible is an unveil that has worn out many humors, said the Lord. No weapons that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise up against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. Isaiah 54, verse 17. That's what it says. Peter, what you want? Okay, hold on. Let me turn my camera off. All right, I'll come back. We'll talk later on tonight, people. We'll talk later on tonight. I'll come back and go live later on. We'll talk. Peace and love.